In this video, we'll be talking about execution context, how it's effectively maintained and executed in the browser. After watching this video, you'll know how a JavaScript file works in the browser behind the scenes. So let's just get into it. When you try to load a JavaScript file in your browser, the browser does not execute the whole file in one go. What it does is, it breaks down the file into more manageable blocks. So for instance, if you look at this file, this function right here can be executed as an independent block. So if there are multiple such functions, it would make sense to execute them separately and not in one go. It would be easier for the browser to manage the contents of these individual functions. So these manageable blocks of code are known as execution contexts. Now there are three function declarations in this file. There's only one invocation, but there are three declarations. So when the browser loads this file, it will only look for function invocations. It won't bother about function declarations. So in this case, we only have a getName function invocation. Only when the function is being invoked, the browser will create an execution context for that function. The browser will never create an execution context for these two functions, but only for the getName function, and that too when it finds an invocation at line number 19. Now when the file is loaded in the browser, the first thing that it does is it will create a global execution context. So in the global execution context, information regarding all these elements will be stored. Even if I remove all these things from the file and then try to run it in the browser, there will still be a global execution context created by the browser. So it doesn't really care about what you have in your file. The first thing that it will always do is create a global execution context regardless of what you put in your file. So let me get this back. Now, once the global context is created, it will look for function context if there are any. So in this case, we have a getName function invocation on line number 19. So when it hits line number 19, it will call the getName function, and with that it will create an execution context for that function. Now just assume that we also have getHeight and getWeight function invocations right below getName. The browser has to keep track of these function execution contexts, right? So what it does is, it maintains a stack-like data structure called the call stack in the browser. Inside this stack, it will just push the execution context based on the order of their invocation. Let's take a look at what exactly happens behind the scenes. So initially, there's an empty call stack that's maintained by the browser. When you load your file for the first time, it will create a global execution context and push it to the stack. So this is what happens at the very beginning. Now the JavaScript engine goes through the file and tries to look for functions. If it does come across a function in the file, it will create a function execution context for that function and then push it to the call stack. So in our example, we had a getName function. When this function was invoked, an execution context was created for this function, which was then pushed to the call stack. Since there were no other function invocations in our file, this function was then executed and then removed from the call stack. Once this is done, the only thing that's left would be the global execution context. Whatever is left in this context will be then executed and then removed from the call stack. So in short, what happens is, at the beginning, when the file is loaded in the browser, a global execution context will be created for that file and pushed to the call stack. It will then go through the file and look for any functions. If there are any functions, it will create an execution context for each of those functions and then push it to the call stack. Once the file has added all the function execution contexts in the call stack, The browser will then execute them individually and remove them from the stack once they are executed. Now that we have seen how browser handles multiple contexts in the call stack, we'll take a look at how it executes an individual execution context. So in order to run a JavaScript file in the browser, it executes your JavaScript file in two phases. The first would be the creation phase and the second would be the execution phase. The first thing that happens in the creation phase is the global execution context will be created. This happens when the file is loaded in the browser. So creation phase happens right before your file is actually being executed. Now what the browser does is it will allocate memory spaces to your variables and functions, the variables and functions that you have in the file. So in our example, as you can see here, there's a variable called fruit and there are 3 other functions. These variables and functions will be allocated memory by the JavaScript engine. Now while allocating memory to these members, in case of variables, it will assign it with a temporary placeholder called undefined. So as you can see here, the variable fruit will be undefined during the creation phase. It won't have the value mango in the creation phase. All the functions that we see here will be stored as it is in memory. This whole body will be stored in memory as it is. We'll look at an example later in the browser itself. But for the time being, just assume that the variables during creation phase will have an undefined placeholder value and the functions will be stored in the browser as it is, the whole declaration of the function. Once this is done, the browser will then move on to the execution phase. In the execution phase, the values that were assigned undefined in the creation phase will now be assigned with its original value. So in this case, we'll finally have mango assigned to the fruit variable. After that, it will look for any function invocations in the file. So in our case, we only have a getName function invocation. So when it comes to this line, it will create a separate execution context for this getName function. These two functions don't have an invocation, so it doesn't really matter. They'll be garbage collected by the browser. But on this line, it will create a separate context for this getName function. Now when a function execution context is created, it will again go through the same creation and execution phase, just like we saw in the global execution context. It will also be added to the call stack here. So in the next step, if you see, this context will now begin with its creation phase. The getName function has also been added to the call stack. The variable person will be set to undefined in the creation phase. If at all there are some arguments in this function, let's just assume that there's a parameter here in this function. This parameter will also be treated exactly as a variable. So it will also be set with a placeholder value that is undefined. Since there's nothing else that can be allocated memory in this file, it will then move on to the execution phase of this function. Now it will replace the undefined value with its original value, which is Jack. It will then execute this console log. This fruit variable that you're seeing right here, this variable was present in the global scope, in the global execution context. Here, anything that's declared in the global scope will be accessible by the inner function scopes. Just like that, this fruit variable is accessible inside this function. So once this console log is executed, the execution phase for this function will come to a halt. It will then remove it from the call stack. Now we again come back to the global context and resume execution. Since there's nothing else left in the global context, we'll then just stop the execution and remove this global context from the call stack. So to quickly summarize this, a context is executed in two phases. a creation phase and an execution phase. In the creation phase, the variables and functions are allocated some memory in the browser. The variables are also assigned with a temporary placeholder called undefined. Functions, on the other hand, are stored as it is in memory for future references. Once that is done, it will then move on to its execution phase. In the execution phase, it will replace the undefined that was assigned in the creation phase with the original values. It will then look for any function invocations in the file. If it does come across a function invocation, it will create a separate functional execution context for that function. It will add it to the call stack and then move on to the creation phase of that function. It will again go through the same thing, allocate memory for the members of the function, assign placeholder undefined value for variables, and store the function declarations in memory. After that, it will move on to the execution phase. It will reassign the original value to the variables. It will run anything that's left in the function. Once it's done, it will get rid of it from the call stack. And after that, if there's anything else left in the global execution context, it will get done with that and also remove it from the call stack. So what I've done is I opened up our example file in the browser. The main two things that you need to focus are the scope block and this call stack. The anonymous that you're seeing right now is basically the global execution context. So since the file has been already loaded in the browser, a global context has been created for this file. Inside this global object, this object, by the way, also gets created during the creation of global execution context. This object will also keep track of all the members inside this function, inside this file. So now we can see that we have our fruit variable here, our get height, our get name, and get weight function. We don't normally see the creation phase in the browser. All we see is the execution phase. So how do we know that the creation phase has already happened? The undefined value that you see right here, this value, as we had discussed earlier, was set during the creation phase. This is a temporary placeholder value that all the variables get during the creation phase. The functions have their declaration stored as it is. The get name, get height, and get weight functions have the declaration stored as it is. Now if I move on to the next step, I'll be able to see the fruit value now change to its original value. So now you can see that the fruit has its original value instead of the undefined value that we saw earlier. Now on line number 19, this getName function will be invoked. So if I move on to the next step, you'll be able to see that there's a new scope added. There's a local scope in here in the scope section. This local scope is with respect to this function, this getName function. Also in the call stack, there's a getName context that's been added. Now again, this function will go through the creation phase first. It has already gone through the creation phase. As a matter of fact, the person variable has been set to this undefined value. If I move on to the next step, now you'll be able to see its original value, which is Jack. Now if I move on to the next step, this function has now been executed. So if I go to the console now, I'll be able to see this string. Since this function is done executing, now if I move on to the next step, it will be removed from the scope. It will also be removed from the call stack, and that's basically it. That's how the file gets executed in the browser step by step.